Hey, everybody. Welcome. Happy Monday. I don't know about you. I have had a crazy, crazy Monday. It's been like all over the place. I feel like I'm 12 or 15 minutes behind on everything, but I'm here right on time at 12 noon. Spent the weekend laying around. I got my booster shot on Friday, so I am fully vaccinated again. And very happy to be keeping myself safe and my family safe as we get ready to travel for Thanksgiving. I hope you are too. So I'm very, very happy and relieved for that. And then yesterday had my family over to celebrate my father's birthday. He is 81 today. So if you see my dad walking around town, make sure to wish him a happy birthday. But today, I'm very excited. One of my very first friends from Twitter is joining me today. Robin Sakula and I met on Twitter way, way back. It's Robin with a Y on Twitter. So if you follow her, then you are probably as excited as I am. So I'm going to read her bio, but then we're going to bring her on and have a good time. Ready? Robin Davis Sakula joined the Presbyterian Foundation as Vice President of Communications and Marketing in early 2019. Robin has more than 25 years of experience in the communications industry, which is amazing because she's not really even that old. Beginning her career as a business journalist, she launched her own consulting company in 2003, providing communications, public relations, and marketing consulting services to businesses, nonprofits, and individuals. A native of Lynchburg, Virginia, Robin earned a Bachelor of Science degree from James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Sorry. She lives in New Albany, Indiana, and has 3 daughters, one of whom is also applying to college. So we have been sharing a lot of those stories, and it's all very exciting. And I am so happy to have you. Hi, friend.
Hi. So we met on Twitter like a million years ago. And do you remember how like you DM'd me and was like, "Hey, I think that you and I do the same thing. Like I represent these businesses." Like, "Oh, yeah, I do too." And then we met in person and it was awesome. You're so much shorter than I expected because on Twitter you're really tall. So your St. Matthew's Chamber Award was.
Yeah, they gave out, we had a Friendsgiving lunch last week and they gave out awards that were kind of like camp paper plate awards. And the one that I won was the most deceiving from Zoom to real life. And I won it with my friend Wanda Shaw. She is 5'10" and I am 4'8". So, but they said on Zoom, you look the exact same size. So we both got our little trophy. I've got it. It's back there on my desk back there. So awesome. That was really fun.
Yeah, some of my dearest friends have come from Twitter, and I read something years ago that said Facebook is where you lie to your friends, and Twitter is where you tell the truth to strangers. And I've always thought that really captures Twitter.
That is so true. I love that.
I do too, because I feel like I'll know somebody on Twitter and I'll know them on Facebook, and a lot of times, and my feed is very different. I am a little bit more honest on Twitter, and that's mainly because my mother hasn't found me on Twitter yet. So there's that. But yeah, like once your mom follows you, you're like, "Oh, I'm just baking cookies and like spending time with my daughters. Everything's great. I never cuss. No, everything's fine." It's all like Bible verses and sunshine and rainbows. But before that, it's like, here's my life. Here's what's going on. Everything's terrible.
Right, exactly. But we're just real out there, you know. It's fun. And look, Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Andrew's on today.
One
of our other fans from Twitter. Hi, Andrew. So yeah, I mean, I feel like on Twitter we can just be brutally honest, and there's not a lot of filter on there. So thank goodness, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I love, and I love too that there's some of my favorite people to follow on Twitter are people who are very real about what's going on in their lives, and of course, because I work for the Presbyterian Foundation, a whole lot of them are pastors or involved in the Presbyterian Church, and I enjoy the truth telling that goes on, and sometimes I will see pastors write very truthfully about some of the struggles. I mean, the past 2 years, every pastor has become a televangelist. Wanted to or not, guess what? You're on TV now. So, put on a little lipstick and polish it up because here we're going. And I saw a sermon title last week from a church in Georgetown in DC that was terrible. Thanks for asking. And I thought, that is it. That is how I am doing. I am terrible. Thanks for asking. I mean, I'm not terrible, but that captures like the essence of how this whole pandemic kind of thing, like we've all just kind of adjusted, like we're living our lives wearing masks now. Like,
right. Exactly.
Okay,
we've just
this
learned
is
to
what we do
navigate
now.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So.
Like, and I remember like when it all started, I'm like, I don't know, I need like one mask. This will be over in a couple weeks. And here we are. Oh, and I saw you're watching the morning show. So I just finished it. So when you had sent that tweet last week, I was on the second to last episode. Now I've seen the last one.
Yes.
I think some of it is a little far-fetched, but it is
very
interesting to see like how it was unfolding from this fictionalized newsroom about what this is and what's going to happen. It was fascinating to see it, even though it's fiction and dramatized. It still was pretty cool. Yeah,
it was pretty cool. I think the thing that I think was crazy town about it is there's no way that somebody at Alex's level even would be allowed to go on and just rant like that on screen, like live broadcast streaming. Like that's not happening. And the other thing is too, even by that point in the pandemic, if she had just come home from Italy, people would have avoided her like, yes, the plague, because she was, in fact, the plague, the literal plague. So, I mean, there's no way they would have all been working. They would not have been working with her in the office. Like everybody would have been like, oh God, you just came back from Italy. Oh my God, no, get away from me.
Right. And I hope I'm not giving spoilers out, but I mean, really, Bradley is just walking into the ER with no mask.
Oh my God.
Into this like authorized area. Come on.
Oh my God. No, this is not happening.
That would not happen.
I have to say, this is one of the things that I loved about Twitter back in the before times when we didn't all just watch shows at random times because everything like Netflix, dumped a full season of House of Cards like at once, so we could all just sit there and watch the whole thing all at once because we have no like sense of, we don't really hold back anything. Like if we want to do something in the now times, we just do it. So, but once upon a time, kids, there was a time when TV shows came on and we all watched them at the same time and we could sit there and tweet at each other about them. Right. And wasn't that just the coolest?
Yes, it was.
Like
did they just do that? Did that just happen? And now you can't really do that because if I'm tweeting about that, you may have seen it last week because I'm behind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I still feel like I still feel like I don't want to ruin Titanic for people. I mean, what if they haven't seen it?
Who hasn't seen this? Lindsay says hello. She's a big fan of the morning show as well. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay. Yeah. I like the morning show, but it is this season is like, what is happening? What is going on? I feel like some stars, like their talent has been wasted. One more plug for this, and then I swear to God, we'll move on to another topic. But the NPR, there's an NPR writer who's doing like a week by week analysis of the morning show. So I watch it and then I go read that, and it's so good. I think her name is Linda. Okay. I don't know. I just made that up.
All right, you'll have to send that.
They're so good.
Fantastic. Oh, I'd love to read
They're so
that.
good.
Okay. I remember I used to read, there was a blogger that did something about when the not the Real Housewives, but the original show, like with Terry Hatcher, whatever that show was called.
Oh, Desperate Housewives.
Desperate Housewives. That show, there was a blogger who used to give you her version of the recap, and it was hysterical. And I did that with that show, and it just like added to my fandom. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's kind of dig into this a little bit. Let's talk about how'd you end up on Twitter? For me, it was kind of like someone said, hey, you're on Facebook. You should try this. I'm like, what is this? What do you do here?
Right.
What is this? So how did you kind of end up, not just on Twitter, but in this world of creating communities, creating brands? Now you're with the Presbyterians, but before that you were with, for-profit businesses and serving as their voice, kind of doing what I do. So talk to me a little bit about how you got here and where you are now.
Sure. Okay. So first of all, Jason Falls just joined us. And Jason, let me just say, Jason is the reason that I went on Twitter because he was doing cool stuff with it. And I was like, what is this Twitter thing? So I joined it and I picked a name, and my first name was like Robin DS. That was my Twitter handle. And then after a while, I thought, that's kind of boring. And then everybody was picking really fun Twitter names, and I saw it's Brandy with an I or something like that, and I was like, I'm stealing that. So I became It's Robin with a Y, which, anyway, so hi. So it's good to see you, Jason. So I just started messing around with it and just trying to see like what people are doing. Like this was back when people were getting on Facebook and being like, I just ate dinner. Like there wasn't, and it still had, and Facebook still had the is. Remember that? So it'd be like Robin is eating dinner. Robin is
none of that.
Right. So Twitter was much more free. And people kept describing it as microblogging. I'm like, what the hell is microblogging? I don't know what that is. Well, eventually I just kind of kept going on and seeing who was there that I knew and following people and seeing what they were posting. And then when I would go to conferences and stuff, that's when it would really pick up because people would be like, oh, there would be a hashtag for the conference and you could sort of follow along and see what people were doing, what they were learning, which sessions they were going to. So I began to see it really more as something for events. But I mean, now it's more because I worked at home for so long and finally got a fancy job with an office so I could come into the office every day only to enter into a pandemic and be sent straight back home again. The Twitter was my place where I would be like, oh, I haven't seen anybody all day. I think I'll go onto Twitter and like post this funny thing I saw or this funny observation I have or, like I can't think of one at the moment, but I would go in there and post something and like 4 other people would be like, yeah, I thought that too. So it kind of became that sense of community, I guess. And then I had a client who was actually in Missouri who was a financial advisor. And I said, hey, what if we started using this for you? Are you willing to let me kind of play with this a little bit? And I said, what if we did a financial tip every day? So he was a financial planning firm. So he let me kind of play with it a little bit. I would write like a whole mass of them and then post it. And he'd approve them. And then I would post like one every day. And we built a pretty good little community there. And then I just began to just kind of see what else was out there and what are other people doing. And it has to be more about people than it does about the brand. Because
say that again.
Brands are boring. People are interesting. Mm-hmm. So tell me a story. Tell me something interesting. That's one of the things that I've brought to the Presbyterian Foundation is it's what I always try to do in all of our communications is it's not about us. It's about who we're serving, who we're working with. So I want to tell the stories of the churches that we're working with and the things that we're doing with them. That's the story I want to tell. I don't really want to tell you necessarily. I want you to have an understanding of what we do, but I want you to understand that it's more about how we can walk with you and do things with you and help you do the things that you want to do. It's more about you than it is about us.
Right. And that's one of the things we talk about with all of these platforms is you're here to solve a problem for someone, but sometimes you have to tell them what their problem is. They may not know.
Right.
So that's how we kind of tie into that advertising sales piece. But it's important that we always remember conversation personalities got to come first. Otherwise, you've got no credibility. Nobody's listening to you if you're just buy my stuff. We're the best.
Right.
No.
Right.
Right.
Well, think about Wendy's. Now that's not a brand. Like the way their approach to social media to me is the most fun thing ever because this is a company that serves a very mediocre burger. I'm sorry, it's not that great. But on Twitter, oh my gosh, they don't say come eat our amazing hamburgers. They have a whole personality built around roasting people and insulting people. It's like Triumph the Insult Comic Burger. It's just, and I think
did you go to Ed Dubovic's in Chicago? Did you ever go there? They used to do that.
No,
just walk in and they'd pick on you. Same kind of thing. And people loved it. They eat it up. Yeah. And now it's everywhere online. You go to Wendy's, you tell them something and they will come at you in a fun way, Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's gold. I mean, why not? I mean, maybe I might eat an extra Frosty because of that. I don't know if it really translates into sales. I mean, it must, or they'd stop doing it. Surely a company
Right.
as big as Wendy's looks at that, but I kind of think that's fun.
Right. Well, and speaking of Jason Falls, I might be putting him on the spot here, but I'm pretty sure he knows the woman that runs that account, which I think is so
Oh,
cool. We're like 2 degrees away from her. How cool is that?
well,
that.
it's really funny. I would like to hang out with that woman because I think it would
I
also
think you have
probably
a
be
similar
devastating.
sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but maybe in real life, she's the kind of person that looks at you as like, why did you get that haircut? Oh, it was terrible. I mean, maybe there's only so much truth you want.
Right. That's true. But I love that. So talk to me a little bit about how you made this decision to go from the quote business world more into the world of, this is a religious community. And even though
Right.
you can or cannot be religious, but you're dealing with people who are
Right.
embedded in this religious community. So talk a little bit about that change and how you've been able to, oh, Jason said,
Yeah, I saw that. That's what.
Great, busted.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks a lot.
So talk a little bit about that, because I think that there are people out there who have a business that they're thinking, this can't be fun, this can't have a personality, but you're dealing with
Right.
the Presbyterian Church and you make
Right.
that fun. So how do you do it? What's your secret?
So I work for the Presbyterian Foundation. And I would say, I mean, we are not, we don't go around insulting people. Like we don't pick fights with the Episcopalians on Twitter, although it has occurred to me. But I think it's generally speaking a really bad idea and a fast track to unemployment. So I think that what I've tried to do with us is to create a brand at which you see our content and you have an understanding of who we are and what we do, but you also, from that, understand that we're here. What I want you to know about us is that we are warm, caring, friendly people who are here to help you. And that's really what I've really gone after. So I've changed up some of our e-newsletters. We share that content in social. So one of the things that I did was we have a Pastor's Life devotional newsletter, and it's a devotional aimed at pastors. And we relaunched it in January of 2020. As we all know, pastors' jobs changed a whole heck of a lot in the past 2 years. They have tons of challenges. Their calls, their ministries are very different now because they're also dealing with people. They're dealing with a lot of people who are scared, they're lonely, they don't know what's going on in the world because of the way politics are. They may have a governing body, we call it in the Presbyterian Church, that's your session. The session may be very divided. Should we bring people back? To church? Should we wear masks? Or I didn't like that thing you said in your sermon last week. I don't want the church to take a stance on this. I do want the church to take a stance on this. And your job is not necessarily to make all those people happy, because God knows the only thing that makes everybody happy is pizza. But you have to find ways to work within this community of very, very different people. So the newsletter, as I saw it, was a devotional that might help pastors feel better about their jobs, feel seen, feel comforted, and know that other people are going through the same things that they are. So that's just an example of and then we share that, of course, on social media. And for us, I like to use lots of different writers throughout the church because there really is not one uniform Presbyterian voice, and I don't want there to be. So I ask all kinds of different pastors from all kinds of walks of life, from all kinds of ethnicities and always diverse, so that they're writing about things from different angles. Because I want there to be all these different, I guess, kinds of voices. I want to lift up all of those voices so that no matter who you are, you see something here that looks and feels like you, that you feel supported in your ministry and what you're doing. So yeah, for me, it's so that's really where I came to. What I was doing before I came to the Presbyterian Foundation was I had my own business in social media and marketing, and I just kind of was ready to take a different path. I wanted to get more into a strategy and some larger picture thinking. And I really thought the only real job that even appealed to me was this one, to be vice president of communications and marketing at the Presbyterian Foundation. The job came open. I applied, and here I am.
Well, that's great. And it looks to me like you have really built a strong community of people already invested in the branding, but now they, like you said, they know they're not alone. And certainly for people in that world, this has been tough these past 2 years, you know, pivoting and changing and having to go online. And so you've really built a community for them. And I'm sure that they are grateful for that, whether or not they know you personally. I'm sure they're grateful to have that community and know there are other people just like me out there. And I think that's really what everyone needed during this time. So,
yeah, I mean, I think we need a sense of connection. I mean, I think that's why people go to social media. I don't think we all went there to shout into some void. Although I think originally it was, I'd like to keep in touch with my aunt from Texas. I'd like to maybe chat with my high school friends every now and then. And then we've moved more towards this sort of cacophony where some people, I don't know if the people I hide in my feed are the ones, even if I agree with them, who post the same kinds of content all the time. Right. Like political article, repeat 15 times a day. I want to know how you are doing. I want to know how your kids are. I want to see your dog. I want to see your cat, your iguana, whatever you got. I want to know about you personally. I think that's why Twitter appeals to me more, because it tends to be a little bit more personal.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for our friendship in real life, but especially on Twitter, because I always know if I need a laugh, I can go find you on Twitter and I'm gonna find something to laugh about. So
well, good. I'm glad.
Thanks, Robin. Thank you for being my friend, for being out there, and thanks for joining me today and sharing some really, really important messages with anybody out there trying to build a community and build a personality and trying to understand why Twitter and how you can do this, no matter what social platform you're on, what's really important. So I really appreciate you being here, and I know that our viewers and our listeners do as well. Thank you.
Great. And thanks, guys.
A very happy Thanksgiving.
I'm very happy Thanksgiving. I'm very excited. We're almost ready.
Yeah, same. All right, well, that sounds great. And everybody have a great Thanksgiving. I will see you next week when my guest will be Tim Sohn. You can find me on his show, The Tim and Jim Show. I will tweet that out if you would like to take a look at that. But thanks to everyone thanks for being out there, Jason. Thanks to everyone for joining. I will see you in a week. And until then, have a very happy Thanksgiving. And just a reminder, you see my dad today, wish him a very happy birthday. Have a great day.